Anthony.
Anthony.
My name is Anthony. Okay, I'm going to tell you a little about my trip. I left Venezuela many years ago, when I was 16 in 2017. Before I left, I studied, but because my family didn't have money, they didn't have the things I needed. So when I was big, I decided to leave my country and work in another country. I arrived in Colombia, I met my wife, I worked, we had our first baby, whose name is Gadiel, and little by little, in Colombia, I had a lot of work in kitchens and selling. We lived in Medellin, but the situation in the country is not very good. That is for a family. And so we decided to take this trip to the US. In reality, our family doesn't have financial resources, so we didn't have the money to travel comfortably. So we had to travel without money, struggling. And we passed by the jungle for 7 days. 7 days in the jungle. She was 7 months pregnant when we entered the jungle, and she came with our other son, who is 2 years. And so we were in the jungle for 7 days. On the 4th day, we ran out of food. We had to cook whatever we could find in the jungle, like plantain, things like that. But on the 4th day, we ran out. It was a tough situation that I wouldn't wish on anyone, because we ran out of food. My son would say, "Dad, I'm hungry. I want to eat." And we had nothing to give him. It hit me in my heart. It hurt me a lot, of course. And I asked God that He help us get out of this place that we had been for 6 days. It was horrible, horrible. Every day it rained in this jungle. Thunder, animals. They rob and rape women. Death, snakes. We saw dead people, but thank God we stayed strong. We struggled a lot, but we got out of there with my baby and my wife. So we left for Panama. There we went to make a little money to go to Costa Rica, to make money to be able to advance. From there we continued to all the other countries, Nicaragua, Honduras, Guatemala, and then we arrived at Mexico. Mexico is a little different and a little complicated and very tough to cross because of immigration. The police, they're bad. They take a lot of money, but we kept trying little by little, we kept trying. Staying almost a month in Mexico trying to keep going. Also, they gave us the news that the US border had been closed because of the Venezuelans. This was really hard for us because our dream was to arrive here in the US, and they gave us that news, and it was a little troubling for us to think we could no longer enter. But we kept going, and we didn't let ourselves give up, and thought we'd arrive at our destination. We sold food in Mexico to make money for our trip. I cleaned windows. We asked for money. We did a lot of things in Mexico to be able to arrive here. When we had enough to pay for the trip, we arrived at Piedra Negra at Rio Bravo. And she had labor pains and was 9 months pregnant, and it was time for the first birth. We arrived at the border, we crossed at the river, and the water was low, only at our waists. We crossed at the Rio Bravo and turned ourselves into the U.S. immigration. She was already in labor when we were crossing the river, and we asked for medical assistance, and they brought her to the Texas hospital, and they brought me to immigration with the baby. We entered on the 25th of this month, October, and on the 26th, she gave birth. I was at an immigration refuge, waiting for them to bring her to me. There I was waiting for 2 days. They brought her to me, and the next day they brought me my baby. And we left for New York City, and we came here. Here we arrived. They found us a hotel. They treated us well, food and some things. They have treated us well here in New York, thank God. Doctors checked my baby and everything is good, thank God. My wife's health is very good. She's doing very well, thank God. She gave birth and she didn't have pain after. Only colic, but that is what always happens. The baby's name is Gael de Jesus. Yes, Jesus, because we've always kept our spirit, and that's why we are here.